Camel Up. This is a betting game that has been around for a while. I've seen it around in stores. I remember seeing it in at conventions. People were playing it, and haven't been to conventions in years. So this is not the newest game. I guess it's maybe on its way to become a modern classic. I never played it until I tried this edition here, and I'm happy that I did because I find it very enjoyable. It can be played with a high number of players, I believe up to 8, but I only played it with 2 and with 3 people. So that's the caveat there, because these are the people that I play games with these days, which is my kids that are currently 9 and 11. So you can play this game with young players. Maybe later we'll try to convince mom to give it a try, so I'll have the experience of playing it with 4. The board includes that adorable pop-up element there, but of course what matters the most to us is the track where the camels will run. Yes, this is a race where we're gonna bet on camels that are gonna run around this track, and as soon as one of them crosses the finish line, the game ends immediately. These 5 camels, oh no, I killed 2. These 5 camels are the ones that will score points that we bet on. Then there are 2 crazy camels that will move around in the opposite direction, and they may pick up other camels and start moving them in the wrong direction, so that will add a little bit of chaos. These camels are represented by nice, for plastic, it just feels nice plastic, and these camels, or resin, whatever the term is, these camels stack easily on top of each other because that's one of the mechanics. That is, when you move a camel, it will move all of the camels that are sitting on top of it. So if right now I'm moving light blue camel by 2, that's fine, it works like that. But if I'm moving red by 1, it goes like this. And if later yellow moves by, say, 3, 1, 2, 3, that's what happens. That's how it goes. So sometimes you will have these like crazy stacks. And again, remember, since these guys are going the opposite way, if this one lands on it there and then this one moves, this is what happens, which can get, again, a little bit crazy and weird. But that's part of the game. Now, it's a betting game, and the camels don't belong to anybody. I like how pure of a betting game it is. It's just about making money and trying to figure out what these crazy camels will do. Each turn, you will take one of 4 actions. An action can be you take one of those tickets there, those betting tickets. You can have multiple tickets of the same camel. You can take, is 1 per turn, but you can have as many as you want. So that there's a catch. When a game lets you take as much as you want, that is something that it's good. If it's good, but there is a penalty for having too many, or there may be a penalty. The race is divided into legs, meaning that we will roll dice to move the camels, and only a number of camels. Not every camel will move every turn. We roll a dice, say we roll a die for the red one, we roll it, we move the red one, and then we place the red die there. And then we roll the die, and it's the green one that moves, and we put it there. When all of these are full, then we say that a leg of the race has just been finished, and that is when everybody who has these tickets checks to see if they make money or if they lose money. If at the end of a leg, the camel for which you have a ticket is in first position, then you collect a number of coins equal to the number indicated there. If yellow is in first position right now, hooray, I collect a 5. And yes, if 2 are on top, if there's a stack of camels, the one on top is considered to be ahead of the ones below. That's great, hooray. If my yellow camel is second, then I score only 1 coin. But that's the trick. Well, again, you're allowed to collect as many of these because they carry their own penalties. Because if the camels for which you have a ticket are third or below at the end of a leg, then you lose coins. Also, these tickets do not all have the same value when it comes to the value that you collect when your camel is first at the end of a leg. And so collecting these earlier is better. And this is the general idea around which the entire design revolves. It gives you incentives to try to figure out how things are gonna go as early as possible. The earlier you figure it out, which also means, you know, the luckier you are, there is that element, then the better the payoff. So one action is to collect one of these tickets, and that's it. From round to round, you can create a veritable collection in your play area, which may pay off handsomely, but also be very expensive. Another possible action that you can take is to place your spectator tile. Each player has one, and they are double-sided. There is the cheering side, woohoo, and then the booing side. You place it on the board, and if a camel lands on it, you score, you collect a coin right away, and then the camel moves one space back or one space forward, depending on the position where you place the tile. The first time you take the action, you place your spectator tile on the board. If you take it later, then you can use the spectator action to move the tile somewhere else. Another action you can take is to bet on the overall winner or loser of the race. Each player has a set of cards representing the different camels, as you can see, and I can take my action for the turn to place one of those cards face down in this location here to commit to the camel that I believe will be the overall loser of the race. Or I can spend my action for the turn to place one of my cards face down in that section of the board there to indicate that I think that camel will be the overall winner of the race. But then we want to move these guys, and the action that I take for the turn can be indeed to move a camel. When that is the case, I collect one of these tokens. There is a reward. You collect a coin for moving the camels, and then you pick up the pyramid, which is a bit of a sort of like a dice tower, dice dispenser. The dice are in here. I shake it, I press that button there, and a die will fall. Incidentally, that is the gray die that moves the crazy camel. See, the number is white, so it will be the white crazy camel that moves by 2. And suppose that then, oh no, that's crazy. This is the purple one. This is the purple one. For a second, I was looking at the image through the lens, and it's still, okay, I guess the camera is not capturing. This is the purple one. Booyah. Purple one. Move by 2 instead. There we go. And somebody else, say, decides to move a camel, and this time we move that one by 3. These dice, as you can see, they're coded by color. 1, 2, 3. Oh, dangerous situation. They're coded by colors, and they have only numbers between 1 and 3 repeated twice. If the gray die is rolled, that one, I was hinting at it earlier, that one has numbers of different colors. So if the gray one is rolled, which is the one that moves the crazy camels, black number means the black crazy camel moves, and white number means the white camel moves. So when we take the action, we do it until, again, only 5 of the 6 dice in there are rolled. So there will be a camel that will not move, and that ends the leg. It ends a leg of the race. We put the dice back in the pyramid to start the next leg. We check the tickets there, so the people may collect or may have to pay money. And we continue like this until the race is over, when a camel crosses the finish line. At the point you score one more time, you check the overall winners and losers, and so you see how much money you make. And again, there is more money to be made the earlier you figured it out, in case multiple players were able to figure out correctly the first and or last camel in the race. And so you collect pretty much money from all possible sources, and at that point the wealthiest player wins the game. So Camel Up, actually, since I filmed the main segment, we did convince Mom to play it. We were able to play 2 games with Mom. And turns out she's not a fan. She told me to report to you that to her is just luck, and the fact that she lost means that we're just luck, including the game is pointless and stupid. No, she didn't say that. she implied it. Maybe it's just luck, but I like it. I like the fact that this is a pure betting game. Betting is what you did. Recently, I played a game Downforce, which seems to me more like a hybrid between betting and proper race. Here, you don't have any bone in the fight specifically, and if you do, when you commit to the overall winner, there isn't a lot that you can do to influence that. You're not driving that. You're not riding that camel, and you can place your cheering tile there, but the way the camels are, you may not be able to place it. There may not be a spot that really matters. So you have a betting game in which, on one hand, it feels like, oh, it's obvious. That's a stupid decision. Clearly, light blue is going to win, and so everybody puts down their bet for the overall winner, or everybody takes the ticket for the light blue. But of course, there's a player that does that first. There's a player that sees that first. Again, when it becomes obvious, everybody does it. But from time to time, you take the gamble and you grab the better ticket, or you put down your bet right before it's obvious, and that's where the fun is. Actually, I would say that there's a balance here between the decisions that you make that are fairly obvious and maybe influenced by, well, now the situation is obvious and I happen to be the next player, so I can benefit from that first. At the same time, sometimes you just get that. You get that easy decision, and sometimes like, well, it may or may not pay off, and I take it now, and if it pays off, then again, you get the better situation. You set up a better scoring situation. There is randomness, yes, but it affects everybody somewhat equally. We're all blinded by randomness, and we're just trying to guess. So, definitely not a game for people that want to optimize their strategy. You got to be in the right spirit. You got to be in the right mood of like, yeah, let's see what happens. And people that go and bet on actual races, that's pretty much what they do, and they lose real money. Here, worst come to worst, you lost. You didn't lose anything because you didn't lose the time to play the game. It was still fun. It was still exciting. As a betting game in which you are okay with going with the flow, see what happens, laugh at the crazy stuff that happens, that you bet on the camel that was going to be the dead last, and then that turns out to be the winner. We saw that happen, and the other way around. Overall, you get a sense of what happens. Overall, betting makes sense. And then, luckily enough, from time to time, crazy stuff happens, which makes people laugh. You're going to have a good time, and you're going to lose horribly, but in a fun way. It's a chaotic betting game, and in that definition, I believe it encapsulates the spirit of the game, which may not be for everybody, which may not be for every group or for every occasion, but definitely there is a time and place where you can just have crazy fun betting on these camels and see what happens. I know that my kids and I enjoy playing the game. Again, Mom, not so much, but that's okay. That's the exemplification that may not be a universal crowd pleaser, but if you're in the right mood, it is definitely a fun game.